Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're here to talk about Fallout. And as always, I have here Ramon
Hey guys.
and and Ro.
Howdy, howdy.
I was thirsty. I'm sorry.
No, not a problem, man. I expect something like that from you.
Gotta get ready, man, for the end of the world. I'm like, might be my last beer. Let's go.
I mean, you definitely look like you just came out of a vault, but yeah, man. Here we are talking about the show that I didn't expect to be as awesome as it was. I am gonna call it. This is definitely probably my favorite video game adaptation anything because I thought it was just so cool. Like I finished it and I wanted to see it all over again. In fact, I did start it all over again, and there's a good chance in the next 2 weeks I will have watched it for the second time. But Ramon, what did you think about it, man?
Well, again, I had no expectations, like what to. Sorry, I had no idea what to expect because sadly, I've not gotten a chance to ever play a Fallout game. I don't know what it was, and it wasn't lack of interest. I just never did. So when the opportunity of this show coming out, I jumped to it to watch it and just kind of figure out a little bit what the world was going to be. So let me tell you, I think I probably enjoyed it a little bit more in the sense of like it was so fun to discover all these elements of what Fallout's about. And then of course needing that reassurance from like the gamers and like kind of the OG Fallout people, them saying that it was a good show made me feel really good that I liked it, because you don't want to feel silly liking something and then the true fans and the people that have this experience and this like history with it to not like it. But not only did other people agree, but yeah, me too. Like it was a show that even if you don't know what Fallout's about, delivers like a great plot. Like the world is beautiful. Like the whole old school like futuristic technology, that concept is probably one of the best things about Fallout. And then just some of the actors and just kind of like the actual story within it. Like I don't know, I fell in love with it from like episode 1 all the way through, and now I'm one of those that I'm like kind of want to play Fallout now. Trying to decide which one, but I definitely want to check one of them out. So we'll see.
No, and that's important. I should have mentioned that, we're all gamers. We all definitely have had an Xbox, a Nintendo, or even a PlayStation in our lives. But,
Atari.
yeah, dude, yeah, don't take me all the way back to, me in the early 80s.
I even had a Jaguar once.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was in the early 80s. I think I was still inside my dad's, but but I'm not that old. but no, man, we're all gamers, and yeah, same like you, Ramon. I've never played this game, so it was really fun to find out what Fallout sort of was about, even though I still haven't played the game, but it kind of does give me an idea, because now I've been really looking into more information about it, because I am trying to also, same like you, jump into it possibly in the next couple weeks, months. I don't know, but hopefully soon. Ro, what about you, man? Fallout anything?
A bunch of the Fallout games came on Game Pass, and I was really tempted. Like I did play New Vegas on 360.
Oh, there you go.
But I had bought it used, I think on like Disc Replay or something like that, and then it was scratched, so then I couldn't get past a certain point, so I never finished the game.
Damn, don't you hate it when that happens?
Yeah, especially because I think that was the first time that I did it with CDs, so I kind of regretted that purchase. But yeah, like I knew the gist of it. So going into it, I knew the aesthetic was going to be a little bit different. But it was really cool. I like the story and the way that they did it. I definitely am intrigued, and I do want to play. It really does make me want to play the games, which I hate, because I hate playing RPGs, because if I get into it, then like I'm going to be playing a lot more than I really want to play.
There goes your sleep and your attention to your child.
But I want to sleep. I already don't
pay
sleep.
attention to your child.
No, I think we talked about it in our Solo Leveling episode, but I really do think it's Christopher Nolan's brother the reason why this show succeeds. I just can see his influence because I've seen Westworld, and it's just kind of like I get that Westworld vibe, even though the world itself is so freaking silly and goofy, but also scary, and also like makes you want to be living in it. It's just all sorts of emotions, man. I get from this Fallout, which again, Were any of you surprised that because Amazon's not really known for dropping all the episodes at once? Were you guys surprised that happened?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it kind of was maybe at the service because it was so good that I would have loved to see it week. I mean, of course, no. I would wanted to binge it, right? But I would want also the suspense of watching it week by week because it was that good. Like we were from episode to episode, we're like, ooh, what's next? And especially again, like if you just know nothing about Fallout, there's so much curiosity, so much like I mean, things that we still don't even know unless you start like doing some research, at least as far as like the general Fallout world. But I don't know. I mean, yes, like I was surprised that it was all out at once because I don't know how that benefits them besides people just binging it right away. But given the fact that it's like one of those good ones that I might watch a second time, does it really matter?
Yeah. I really think that for this one, instead of doing like the full dump of all the episodes or even week to week, I think that they should have done like either like 2-3 episodes and then like another like 2-3 episodes and then like another 2-3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like when they do a bunch, that way people can still kind of binge a little bit.
Yeah,
dude, that's a great idea, dude. When can you start?
Yeah. Well, they've. I don't remember if Amazon has done it, but I know some of the streaming services have done stuff like that, or kind of like with the Stranger Things that they dumped like half of it and then they waited a few weeks and dumped like another.
But see, then when Netflix does it, it's annoying. I don't know why though. I'm kind of like, oh, why would you do that to me? You like tease me so hard, and then you just take it away for like a week. Like stupid.
Well, I know with like Amazon, like they have dropped like first couple of episodes. Normally, when like a brand new show, they'll drop like the first 2 or 3.
Yeah,
and then and then after that, you got to wait weekly. Part of me feels like they were trying to tap into like the younger generation because I feel like as much as I'm also like Ramon. I like watching everything all at once, even if it comes out weekly. If I can hold out, I'll just wait till like there's a good amount of them for me to binge them. But I feel like they were. What is it?
like Shogun.
Like Shogun, and eventually I caught up and regretted it immediately that I didn't just wait for it to all be done. But yeah, dude, I think they were just kind of maybe trying to tap into the gaming generation. Like, okay, we want to get a bunch of gamers. Maybe we get them and we give it to them all at once. They'll talk about it. And I mean, people are talking about it and people are buying the meat, like all the merchandise. Ramon, you found that pin that, you didn't even know you had.
Years old, but I found it.
But everybody wants to be on the Fallout train right now, and I even think like I'm super happy that some of these actors, not saying that they weren't famous already, but this is definitely going to elevate their careers. I feel a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's like just like social media and stuff like now, like I like that at least from where I've been on the algorithms and stuff like that. I don't feel like the Fallout community is like, oh, what the hell? Oh, like, now we have a bunch of people coming over here. I think if anything, they probably welcome it because I heard like the servers for like Fallout 76 and a couple of the other ones have really been spiking, like more players that they've had in like a couple years. Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, like the games that I love to play, I love when people play them with me. So I'm like, why not? Like, even if you have nothing and you know nothing about a game that I play, if you all of a sudden get into it, hell yeah, like I invite you right in. But like at least the response from those people, like I love that it's been all positive about the shows because it's just kind of like reassures us that we're just kind of watching it from the outside that, hey, we're also like kind of all of a sudden found interest in this thing. And I don't know, but how can you not like it, man? It's just like that, like, and it is kind of like still a comedy and it's dark humor and it's just like just the whole world building of it. It's just great. But yeah, I mean the humor in it's hilarious. It
reminds me a little bit of Blast from the Past, which is like a 90s movie. Yeah. But it just like it gives me those, and I love that movie. I mean, I love the way that character is once he goes to the top of the world, like top where people are normal and stuff.
Brendan Fraser,
Brendan Fraser, yeah. So it's just maybe that's why I love Fallout.
Yeah, that's a good comparison.
Walken's in it too.
Yeah, it's a good comparison for it. Yeah,
Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah. Okay, damn. Yeah.
Look it up, guys. If anybody hasn't seen Blast from the Past, it's a great, funny movie.
Yeah, no. I like it. I'm a fan.
Well, do any of you have any kind of big theories you guys want to talk about before we even get started on the show? Because I have one, but I want to give you guys the treatment of being the first to maybe bring up any theories.
Theories about what? Just in general or like?
About the show, yeah, like about the show or maybe season 2.
I don't really have any theories, but I know that I'm really intrigued by all the videos that I've seen of what all the other vaults we're doing, and I definitely want to know where all the vaults are now because I know the one with all the guys with one girl and all the girls with the one guy, and then the one where like they have to like kill one
Sacrifice.
person and like all of those really intrigue me because people are messed up.
You know, that's the one thing that I got spoiled to from being on social media, but I don't mind it because like the show itself doesn't explore the absurdity of like how crazy the votes get, right? It's not till the very last episode when you hear like the freaking Robco and freaking Voltec discussing like their plans, and all the company executives start getting like, ooh, and in this vote we could do this, and you know, like it wasn't until that very last episode that in the show you got the true sense of what like what's going on in these other vaults. Like you started finding out that there was like more and more weirder stuff. But yeah, if it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't know that it goes to that extreme where people are doing some crazy things in these vaults. But I think that just adds to the social experiment part of it. Like, I mean, just that context of the show is beyond crazy. The fact that you're letting people with money have control of like the future populations of the world solely because they have the money. And then two, like, you get to like basically freeze yourself and then kind of be woken up at any point and just rule these people and like play God. Like, I don't know, man. That was like, that was the best surprise about the show, that I was like, fuck, man, these people are twisted. Like, love it.
I mean, I do like
that. That would never happen here.
Well, I was going to say, I like the fact of like, you know, we have the government to step in whenever somebody has like a monopoly. I mean, it's the government is the reason why currently. Well, the government's kind of the reason why we're able to play. Me and you, Ramon, we were talking about how you can play Game Boy games on your iPhone now. It's actually came as because of the government. The fact that they're kind of calling Apple out on being a monopoly. You don't let people actually modify their phones like they should. Don't let them repair it. So now all of a sudden we have game emulators, which is kind of cool. You know, the fact that we're able to do that now with iPhones.
Yeah, me and Tony were doing on our freaking T20 calculators forever ago. No, but I think that's the scary part of this show before we get into more details about it. I think it's just like the grim pseudo reality that exists within the show, because even though it is kind of super fictional in the sense of like, you know, the idea of like 200 years later and we're still fighting. But again, how many years have we been on this earth? And it's always been about wars and like people fighting and all this stuff. It just so happens we haven't used nukes to that extent. But, you know, again, just once we find out like the connection of these corporations with the nukes and the war, that's kind of what's scary, because how many other movies and shows have we seen where like these futures are ran by companies more so than like a government, right? Like Idiocracy was great because like in Idiocracy, it was all ads everywhere. Like the freaking water got replaced by freaking the Gatorade thing. And then I don't know. I mean, I just love the building in this because the story building in this, because it's beyond scary. And again, I could only imagine how amazing it would be to play the games because you're living in it. But again, the show being the closest, I just love that connection that we have to the scary reality that potentially could be a
Mark Zuckerberg's already building a vault in Hawaii, you know, in case of a kind of disaster. So you already probably got billionaires that are buying land in these random parts of the country or the world, and you don't really know about it, but you know it's happening.
Yeah.
They must have been doing it forever, like especially like the big families, like the Rockefellers and the Carnegies.
And why wouldn't you?
All the super families, the Kennedys, probably.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I had $1 billion or at least more than $100 million, like shit, I'll be investing in my own vault, man. And you guys can be part of it too.
That'd be great. I call dibs on his lakes when we get hungry. I'm like, Carlos, give me a lake.
Well, I have one theory, and it actually has to do with the beginning of the episode, because to me, it's something that never got really explained. But in the beginning of the show, it sort of starts with, you know, we got the ghoul in a kid's party, and you're kind of thinking like you're led to believe that he's there because he got a divorce and he doesn't have any more money. Because later on, we clearly find out that he's rich, loaded, one of the most famous people in the United States of America,
like Clint Eastwood, John Wayne.
So nothing. At least from me watching this episode, nothing led me to believe that he would end up in that situation no matter what, even if he got divorced. So I'm thinking that second season, you're going to find out that he was in the house, maybe because he was doing some of this whole, like, trying to find out what the corporate world was trying to do, like investigate that dude's house, whoever that house was. And then you're going to find out that he was doing some espionage. And that's the only reason why he was there. So that's like my big theory going into the second season. So I'm putting it down right now.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that totally makes sense, because so you think he joined that other group with the other lady, and then he was going around kind of like trying to figure out what Voltec was doing, and that's why he was there.
No, exactly. I mean, it's possible that he did get separated from, like, he probably called out his wife, but I do believe that at that point he's probably doing espionage, and he's like, all right, we gotta go to this guy's house. And, you know, for all I know, it was his day with his daughter, so he took the daughter, not knowing that the world was gonna end at that moment. But that was freaking awesome, man. Rewatching that a second time, beautiful, awesome. I wanted my wife to pay attention, but I could not get her to, like, not fall asleep, sadly.
She'd been like, look, kids party. Cowboys. No, I mean, I like that theory, but no, I don't know. I think the first episode was a great episode to come back and rewatch because, yeah, once you find out, like, Cooper finding out everything about the wife and kind of Voltec and all their plans, and then you remember that he was divorced and that he did have his daughter during that thing. So then you got to think, I'm like, yeah, he probably did call her out after he found out, like, the big, you know, he kind of snuck in and kind of heard the conversation. He probably confronted her. They probably did get separated, thinking that the whole, like, dropping of the bombs wasn't even going to happen until, like, a little later. But I am really curious about how he went from running away in that party with his daughter to perhaps ending up being in a ghoul. And then obviously we know that even towards the end of the show, we find out he's actually looking for his family. And so I'm like, where is his wife? Where's his daughter? And so if he ran that day off with the daughter, like, they perhaps obviously survived. And then how did the daughter lose? Like, you know, like, that's the mystery that I'm, like, really curious for the next season.
I think go ahead.
So at first I thought that other lady that kidnapped the dad, I thought she was the daughter at first. Until they showed her in the later episode.
We never got an explanation for her neither, like why she's still alive.
But she looked like she was like an elite of some sort, because remember she said she worked for a company that Voltec was buying out, so she had money. So I mean,
she's the one that created the Cold Fusion.
She created the Cold Fusion, but like the thing is, like, that they, like, it just seemed like anyone with money would have had a Volt. Whether they were going to be a whole, like, manager, like, you know, one of the Volt 31 management, that's a whole different story. So I think, like, Moldaver just probably ended up lasting that long because she also ended up having a Volt. Maybe she did kind of still infiltrate, became part of management, just to eventually be rewoken up. And I don't know. I mean, I love when I started finding out the people that had been for a long time. With the ghoul, I'm like, well, shit, like, how long has he been a ghoul? That's a whole different story. That could be potential for so many things. But with, like, Moldaver, I was like, huh. Like, how is she still alive, like, 219 years later? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Well, I think the ghoul, the actor himself, I think he's kind of like the most famous one in the cast, and I feel like you don't give him this role for him to be in makeup the whole time. So I think there is going to be a lot of more juice to his, like, backstory, because I don't think he becomes the ghoul right away, and I think there is going to be more of him, like, piloting. He even said it. He's like, I used to pilot one of those suits. You know, that's how I know, like, some of the weaknesses. So it's just like, I feel like there is going to be so much more of him in the past, and we're gonna see more of that, which is cool. Like, I'm here for it, man. It makes me really excited. Because I definitely liked his story about how he was just such a good guy, wouldn't even portray killing somebody in a movie, and then who he was. It's like, man, he never really became a nicer guy, honestly, even at the end.
I like his connection to the whole thumbs up and that whole story.
I know.
Like, that was a beautiful thing to kind of like uncover, like, kind of unwrap, because, well, first of all, like, in that first episode when they're asking to do a thumbs up and he's like, that wouldn't be good taste. I thought it was kind of weird when he explained it to his daughter. I was like, oh, okay, cool, but then how does that associate like, what does that have to do with him? But then later when you see that he was, like, literally the spokesperson for Voltec, you're just kind of like, oh man. And the fact that he got to be the first one to kind of wear that uniform, in a sense, to, like, promote it nationally, like, that was great. Like, he has to be, like, the most jaded person in this show, because he literally hates Voltec and he hates everything that they kind of did to him, his family, and the whole world. And dude, that's probably, I mean, besides Lucy, of course, but, like, he's probably my favorite character.
Okay. Before we move on to Lucy, because I just want to touch something on the ghoul real quick. How did he get trapped in the beginning? You know, when they rescue him from being underground, like, was he purposely put underground? Was somebody
I think he was.
He was captured, right? He was captured and put underground, and they came and rescued him? Or he purposely put himself underground?
I think he did it.
What it sounded, well, because remember the coffin was chained up. The coffin was chained up. So what it sounded like from what it sounded like from the guys that went to take him out, it seems like someone was, like, his manager of sorts, or someone who was, like, kind of controlling him in a sense. So he was basically giving him the vials to survive, to do a job and then put him back on the ground. So basically, like his pet that he would
Winter
only like
Soldier.
take out. Yeah, Winter Soldier, like take him out when needed, give him his supply, and then put him back on. And that was basically what I got from it. That he was just like
yeah, that makes
under
that
control
tracks.
assassin. Yeah, and then it makes sense. But I mean, again, just the story alone. I was just, even when he first showed up, I'm like, of course, like we've seen the previews, we've seen the trailers. Like I want to know his story the most. And he did not disappoint. I love his like freaking like very Hawkeye of bullet arsenal, like his ammo, because every single bullet looked different. And man, he was shooting some freaking some explosives and all kinds of stuff out of that pistol.
I mean, we legitimately had some video game sort of weapons, because there was even the guy that shot like toys. and there was also like a baby leg sticking out of it.
I hadn't looked that up, but I mean, like later, just obviously things were naturally coming up on social media. But like, I saw that that's a fan favorite of the players, and I'm like, I can see why. Like, you have a gun that shoots any kind of junk, and it so happened to shoot a fucking doll's leg at somebody. Like, and even later when the one dude also shot, and it was like the tooth. Like he shot a freaking decayed tooth into him. Like, like see, how can you not
talk about gingivitis?
All right, let's talk about our second lead.
And he might not be the most famous one in there. You have freaking Chris Parnell, freaking Jerry from Rick and Morty. But I mean, not as much. Yeah, the
Cyclops.
Yeah,
the Cyclops.
He will never be anything but Jerry to me.
I have a funny story. I think I ran into him once at a Dairy Queen. But I told myself, there's no way that's him. And I didn't confront them. I didn't ask about it. But since that day, I've always thought about it. Was that him?
Is this man from Illinois? Because if he is, then you're...
Don't look him up.
No, he was from Tennessee. He's from Tennessee, but I don't know where he lives. you.
But let's talk about Lucy, man. Because obviously Lucy, that's kind of like, she brings a lot of the fun to this show.
Lucy in the sky with diamonds.
Oh, Lucy underground with rocks.
Yeah. And corn.
And corn. And cousin boyfriends.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say, who here hasn't done anything with their cousin? Raise their hand. I'm raising my hand. You just can't see it on screen.
I'm raising my hand.
Wait, are you two cousins?
We didn't say each other. We did not say each other. Okay.
Yeah.
It's bad enough admitting. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I know you were already complimenting Lucy, because obviously, yes, like actress wise, like looks wise, her eyes, like I think they did a really good job casting her, because she's one of those people that she fits the role of like the kind of innocent, not naive in a negative way, but definitely very naive to the rest of the world and what's going on in the wasteland, and kind of, I guess, more ignorant, like playfully ignorant, because she really doesn't know. And I love the idea that to this, like even to the middle of the season, she is still thought that they were going to be the ones to repopulate the planet. So even upon like coming up to the surface, she's still kind of like, yep, we're the ones, we're the saviors of the world. And I just love her. I don't know, even just from the beginning, but definitely once she hit the wasteland and seeing her explore all that was great.
Dude, she's totally the young female Ned Flanders of the show.
I mean, she's buff and built like him, but yeah.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, okie dokie.
Dude, I mean, the twist at the end with the dad, that's what really like shocked me about the show.
Damn.
But, you know, I just wasn't expecting that. But yeah, man, Lucy's fun from the very beginning. This whole idea of like, she's having an interview about marrying somebody from the other vault and getting it approved, and it's pretty funny. All the things that she does, all the activities. She's like, I'm part of this club, I'm part of this club, I can do this.
That was very video gamey, because she was like talking about the attributes like agility and intelligence, and I'm like, oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, see, I got that right away too, because I'm like, okay, clearly this is based off a game. And when she was talking about her like attributes, they were very general, and I'm like, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I like the whole cousin boyfriend thing was hilarious, because that's like literally one of the first things that we like kind of got dealt with. And she's like, no, we cannot get married, or like we cannot be together. You're my cousin. And he's like, so, and he's just like so in love with her. But that made him so much better throughout the season, because
you always got to have the cousin conversation with your kids, bro. You haven't had it, you need to have it.
I mean, it's so hard, man. We come from good genetics sometimes, and you know, you love yourself, and no kidding, just kidding. I'm from
Wow.
a small town, okay? I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Don't ask me how I have the same last names on both sides of my family, but it happened.
It happens.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
It's true though.
You know,
True story.
after her ball got massacred, something that I kind of like the second time I was rewatching, I was sort of counting how many people were getting, killed because after they leave the ball, the bad guys leave the ball. Like there still seems like there was a lot of people left. Like I'm like, this is crazy.
I
It's
feel
like
like it
almost
should have
no.
been less. Yeah.
It should have been less. And I'm like, if there was 50 people at the start, there was like 45 still alive. I'm like, that's like totally not accurate.
But
Mhm.
but I mean,
Yeah, go
what's to say that everybody was in the same area at once though? Besides,
What
the
I'm thinking is
ceremony.
maybe there's a group that sleeps while the others awake. That's where I was kind of putting the logic to it. So there could have maybe been a group that was
Like
sleeping
two
while the other
separate
group.
shifts or like multiple
Yeah,
shifts.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
You almost have to just based on something going wrong.
Yeah. And I mean,
Yeah.
and you do hear about like other vaults having like 100 and 101 people and like certain like crazy numbers. So it's like, excuse me, I never thought that it was really that bad of an idea to be like, oh, there's more people there, but that weren't at the wedding for one reason or another, even though it seemed
Yeah,
like a whole
they had
vault
jobs.
event. But yeah, like
Mhm.
something that they were kind of doing that was. And plus, did we ever find out what the experiment at Vault 33 was?
They're the control. They're like the ones that don't get like they're just normal people having to live like normal lives.
Are we
No,
sure
no,
about
'cause
that, or did we
I-
not find out?
No, because
I thought it was the control.
I think with that one, like the whole point of it is to have the old people from Vaultec managing them.
Well, that's every
I-
vault. That's every vault has
Well, that's
someone
every
from 30.
vault. I thought it was
Yeah.
just that vault.
Because that was the whole point of Voltec. The whole point of Voltec is that if you were one of the elites, you were going to be part of management. Like that's the goal. Like you want to be part of management because ultimately you would be the ones who would be deciding what happens in these vaults. Hence why everybody that's like what was it called? The freaking head person. Anyways, yeah, but any head person came from Vault 33 because they would like wake them up from the cryo sleep and then be like, "Hey, your time is up." I don't know. I didn't like that system
No,
either.
but like all the
But
vaults
wasn't
aren't
it a-
connected. It's just group of three.
Wasn't that Bolt like a clone? Like if you're talking about the dad specifically, isn't he like meant to be a clone of No?
They were
So that
cryo.
same guy was the same one that he met 200 years ago.
Yeah. But he was like in cryo sleep kind of thing.
So they're just using people to wake up at different times then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you guys.
except for the brain in the robot.
No, but Ramon, I did take it as their Bolt was the control one, like the one that can actually live in peace,
Maybe.
like whatever flourish. That's how I took it. That's why she lived such a great life and happy, and everything was like.
I don't
great for
know.
her.
I feel like there's something we don't know yet because, like, you remember, like, whoever pointed it out, he was like, "Well, what's like the experiment?" And then it kind of like made a point that they're like every vault has something. But
there
who
was a
knows?
control one. There was like one that didn't have anything. Though.
Well, why would it be that one? It doesn't seem like it would be a central one because, like, I mean, that's what I'm waiting to see what happens in the next seasons. Is like where some of the elite people, especially the Ghoul's wife, like ended up at because she seemed to be one of the higher ups at Voltec at this point. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm just curious to see where else and whether it was like a New Vegas. That obviously that's where we're heading towards in this new season. But I'm just curious to see where the other like really important people like showed up because. I mean, Lucy's dad wasn't anyone crazy. Like at that point, he was just an assistant to like one of the Voltec or to his the Ghoul's wife
at the time.
Yeah, at the time. But I
just don't get. I don't like the fact of like, okay, the mom went up to the top world and everything's great and their civilization, and then he had it bomb. Like Voltec had it bomb again. I'm like, that makes no freaking sense. And how are you ever gonna end the cycle? So maybe there is more to that vault being an experiment.
But that's the thing about the show and maybe the game too. They don't want to end the cycle. The thing is, like at the end of the day, yes, because like the Voltec itself is a company and they generate money by living in the vaults. So for as long as you can produce war and keep people underground, Voltec is going to keep making money. The second that everybody comes to the surface, Voltec is obsolete.
But
anymore.
how are they making? It's like the economy. That's why it doesn't make any sense for me to like these people that are like thinking about like we should just bomb like ourselves, like bomb it ourselves. Like why wait for war? Let's just do it ourselves. It doesn't make any sense because then you're not gonna make any money. People aren't gonna be working, generating money.
Well, you are because you're selling the vaults. Like you're selling the vaults for people because people are paying big money to go to a vault.
But they're already dead at that point. I mean, once you after you drop them though, they're already dead at that point. I don't know. It doesn't make sense. That's the whole point of the world. That's something doesn't make sense. It's all idiotic people.
In the future, I think the whole reason why they bombed that one city with Maximus, I think that was just selfishness because of the fact that the dad just wanted, because he was spiteful and petty, and he didn't like the fact that his wife left. And
I like that. I feel like that's also sort of had something to do with it.
And Moldaver was there too, so obviously he knows. I assume he knows who Moldaver is, and that she was always trying to oppose Voltec. So yeah, I mean that the wife running away with the kids and then kind of living with Moldaver. I'm sure that was the reason. Did you recognize him from somewhere? Because it took me a hot second to know who he was, like the actor.
He looks familiar, but I don't...
from the 1984 Dune.
That's right. Yeah. He's also don't forget him from Showgirls.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I was just like, because I just watched. I mean, we just talked about Dune, and I was just rewatching the 1984 one, and I'm like, this man, obviously older, but he looks so familiar. But oh man, I love his whole mystery, right? Because you really don't know anything about him until the very end again. Probably one of the best reveals finding out.
Hope I can look like that at 65. I just looked up his age.
He looks pretty good. Yeah. But yeah, his reveal is pretty good. Yeah, what's up?
So when Moldaver went down to the vault and kind of like went there to take him, she gave him an option of either her or them.
Yeah.
So what was really the option? Because he put her in that one room. So
they all survived. So
and they took him.
Well, I think she wanted leverage, because again, the whole point of her taking him was to get the codes so she could set up the freaking particle accelerator, not the particle accelerator, but you know what I'm saying, the cold fusion thing. And so I think it was just leverage. I think it was one of those things like threatening him with taking the kids, or taking him anyways, and then kind of using the kids as leverage as to why he should give her the codes to kind of set that up.
I have another question.
I just wish she was nicer to Lucy. Sorry, I just wish she knew Lucy's a little girl and she knew the mom. Like, I wish she would have made it clear, like, don't hurt Lucy, because I mean, we almost lost her in the beginning of the episode. Yeah, go ahead, go with your question, Ro.
So the Enclave is some other sciencey group, I'm guessing. So why was he hiding the dog in the lab?
I think he just wanted a companion.
That, you know what? That's a good question, because I also rewatching it. I'm like, okay, he kind of, because the dog, technically he was supposed to burn it, and then he faked the stats, and then I don't know if he got attached to it, because maybe that's the dog that he could have kind of played God, like, hey, he should have died, but I saved him. And I mean, he obviously was building up towards a bigger experiment, because he's the one that created the little thing that would create unlimited energy. So I don't know.
I think maybe that's what it is. I think maybe, because I just thought of it right now, because I was just thinking originally he just wanted a companion, right? And again, just like he did burn other puppies and stuff like that weren't over the 10 pounds. But I think since he was already planning on running away with the freaking little freaking relic, I think he almost wanted a companion to help him along the way. Because if we think about it, dogs are going to be super helpful, right? If they're loyal to you, they're going to help you somewhat kind of defend off critters and things like that. They're going to help you kind of hunt if they're kind of somewhat have their animal instincts. So now that thinking about it, if he knew he was going to take that relic, run away and give it to Moldaver, then that was just a plan for him to have something to help him along the way. Because I mean, who wouldn't want a dog companion like Jake?
Dude, and I hate that we lost him past the first episode, because he had so many. Or maybe the second one. He had so many answers to everything. That guy could have solved the whole episode, the whole show, in one episode, just by him answering questions.
So hence why they killed him.
I know, but I like that actor from Lost, and I just thought it would have been really cool, because he knew a lot about Lucy, and I don't know if we ever did understand why he knew about her so much, but he was working for Baltic, right? That's what he was
Yeah,
working for.
they're
Yeah.
part of like I guess so the Enclave or whatever. I think maybe it was just that facility or the group of researchers, but technically they're still workers of Voltec, and they're some of the overseers of certain vaults. Hence, why he did know the fact that she was like part of this giant experiment, that she was what part of Vol who her family was. But I think that's part of the reason why he had a different type of conscience, where he's like, cool, this isn't right either, so let me steal this relic and give it to like Moldaver for therefore to have like the power and kind of ultimately free some of these people in general. I don't know, like I think you're right. Like he makes sense that he kind of died right away, but at the same time, I wish he was there longer because he did have more answers, and I remember feeling that way. I'm like, this is the guy that's going to tell us what's going on, and then it's like, cut my head off, Lucy. Go ahead, just do it.
Like I already took the pill. I took it
Yeah.
like 5 minutes ago.
That was
I know.
great, but so sad to see because I was worried about his dog, man. Like,
I like how he's like, I wish it's a little bit more popular product. It's banana flavor. It's wasn't a bestseller, sadly.
but it's funny because like even when she started going through some of like the cities, as soon as she came off from the wasteland, remember she ran into like that little town where like the people were dead in their like kitchen and they had the same like vial of like poison or arsenic, whatever it was. Yeah. See, that's something that again I wish I would have played the games previous to this to kind of have a lot of those Easter eggs, but I do enjoy like people who like do play the games talking about it and all the Easter eggs and how excited they were to see that every shot, like almost every other shot of the show had something that was an Easter egg or something fun. And I'm like, dude, like why don't we get this from something else that I'm more familiar with? But you know, again,
dude, the instant leg stuff was pretty like funny.
The
Like
instant
this idea
leg?
of like, yeah, that was pretty like crazy. The metal leg that they put on him when he was bleeding
the
out.
leg, yeah.
Yeah, dude, that shit was like in the Civil War. That thing would have been a top seller.
Yeah.
I mean, I get how that's even worth it, but I hope that's kind of pumping some like meds into him too. Because I'm like, dude, that's agonizing pain, and obviously he was able to walk on it too, so there had to be some kind of like heroin or morphine going through it, something.
Dude, let's talk about our third biggest character, and that's the chicken fucker. Like, what was his whole deal?
What the biggest Skip Maximus. Maximus doesn't matter.
I'm kidding.
No.
But what was that? What was his deal, man? He was about to pop himself at the end of the
snake oil salesman that turns people into ghouls.
Which one of our friends is going to be the chicken fucker? That's the question. Which one of your friends is? No, I'm kidding. It's just
we know one that owns chickens already.
I was gonna say that one too. Except that he probably can't convince or con people into buying his chicken oil.
his chicken wives.
Yeah.
No, I mean I think that's some of the goofiness and silliness that I freaking loved about the show. Like so many of these like side characters that were like so like prominent. Like he was one of the funniest ones because even at the end with freaking the squire like ran into him, he was ready to freaking off himself. Like dude had a gun and he's just like trying to survive in the wasteland, man. Trying to survive in the wasteland. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I realized that we didn't even talk enough about Lucy, but she'll come back up.
We should go back. Let's talk about Maximus. I was kidding about that. Maximus is a great character.
You think so?
Dude, he looks just like Mark Cuban Jr.
No, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Jr. Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban, sorry. Cuban Jr. Yes, dude. Does he not?
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He does. Especially when he was in all the freaking movies when he was a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I just like give him the money, man. Give him the money because he was freaking like. I just feel like I've never seen a guy that looks just like him, and I thought he was a good actor. I really did enjoy him.
He reminded me so much of like all these like stereotypical anime characters where he's kind of like. I mean, I get it, right? He was a kid when he freaking got saved by the freaking. What's her name? Yeah, the
Brotherhood Knight.
Brotherhood of Steel, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. We'll figure it out again a little bit later. But no, I mean, like the fact that he was a kid when all that happened, like he was traumatized, like so freaking fucked out of his mind. Like he was the only one that survived by hiding in a fridge, rescued by these guys. And if you think, and Raul would tell you better, like to be rescued at a young age by like the army or something and be raised by those people, like I can't imagine what kind of like mental just jumbledness that would create. And I don't know. I obviously I love the character and how he builds, but definitely he's one of those that you're like, come on, man, like just and I didn't think he's the one that put the razor into that one soldier's like boot.
I wondered it.
Yeah, but I love how they did it. Where I love how they like played with it, right? Like, because he didn't say no, it wasn't me. Like he wasn't freaking out, and clearly, that soldier also didn't. Just that whole mystery, because you kept on thinking this guy's a coward. This guy's like a freaking. I mean, he's a liar. That's for sure. I don't like. Not saying that you can't do white lies, but that guy was a straight up liar. I mean, you lied to Lucy, out of here, get out of here. But no, like I really like how he developed, because you kind of couldn't trust him, because you know that he was like innocent because he was a kid at heart the whole time. But I think his ambitions were very like, I don't know. I just, again, we knew what he wanted to be, but he was kind of like getting it in a weird way that you're just like, even when he let the freaking Knight Titus die, he deserved it, by the way. No. But I was just,
dude, that's the thing about him though, that he was like. He was conflicted, or he was complex, because you saw him being up by all the other guys, so you kind of felt bad for him. He kind of looked like the victim, and that one other girl was kind of like his protector or whatever. And then she got chosen, and then you think that he was the one that did the razors on the boot, possibly. They question him, and then they promote him, and then you see the fact that he wants to make the world a better place. And I mean, part of the reason why he lets Titus die was because he wasn't fulfilling the ideals that he thought a knight should have.
No.
And then, so he puts on the armor, he goes around trying to save damsels in distress. And then he's really bad at it because he has no training with it. And then, but he like lies and does all these things throughout the process, where he like pretends to be Knight Titus with the new squire. He like lies to all these people saying that he really is a knight, and he just does all these shady things that kind of conflict with what his ideals should be of being a knight. And then it's I like how complex it was, and it really kind of rounds out the character for Maximus.
Dude, how did a knight lose against a bear, dude? Like, this suit is like power. It's atomic power. It's like, what's giving it power?
It's core fusion or fusion core, like, but yeah.
Dude, yeah, I just couldn't believe he lost against a bear. I'm like, take the bear, man.
Not just any bear. It's like a mutant bear.
I mean, there's a name for him too, but yeah, either way, like he deserved it regardless, because I thought it was pretty funny when like freaking Maximus was trying to talk to him, and he's like, "Here, clean," and then he gives him his junk guard,
the cup,
yeah, the cup basically. and then see, I did love his dynamic, like Maximus, is because then when he got the opportunity with Thaddeus, like with freaking Squire Thaddeus, it was the same thing too. He's like, I want to feel like powerful, and then he does the same shit. So like super complex. Like I definitely agree. I still think it was funny like that when he did save the one guy, and he's like, "But he fucked my chickens." Like, it's like, oh, like, what?
Dude, no, you know. Honestly, I sort of want to applaud the showmakers for making the armor the way it looks in the video games, from what I can see, because most people would have been like, dude, that just doesn't translate well. But dude, they kept it, and it looked ridiculous, but it worked. It worked for the world.
I think you got it.
They kind of look like the Warhammer figures.
Yeah, I mean they're cool, but like I think that's where we gotta understand, right? Like I keep seeing people on TikTok and places be like, "Oh my god, like how does it make sense that in the future you have this like old robot that can barely move?" And it's like the whole point is that they were using these robots in the 2070s when they were fighting, like, you know, they fought like. That's where freaking the ghoul Cooper had fought in that war in Alaska, right? That's where he wore his suit. Those armors are from that time, right? Okay. They're from that time, because then the bombing happened, and then after that, those were just kind of relics that they continue. So that's the kind of crazy thing about like that military force, is that the fact that they're kind of using old technology to rescue like or to get relics, and that's how they kind of want to control this whole thing. But like it was meant to be like an old armor. It wasn't for all sakes like futuristic. It's stuck, like it's outdated basically. It's just all they have, which I really like that idea. Yeah,
they talk about different models, but yeah, they all look the same. I mean, I couldn't tell you what the newer model versus the old model was.
And the thing that some people don't really kind of get about this, which I kind of love, is that so the whole aesthetic of it and the theme, I guess, is if you go back to the 50s and what the 50s would have thought that the future would have looked like. And that's kind of what Fallout is. So So it's kind of like if you go Back to the Future, what they thought like 2011 was going to be, or 20 whatever year it was, 2016, when he went to the future. We obviously don't have hoverboards and flying cars and all that stuff, but in the 80s they thought that we would.
Yeah,
dude, if you would have woken Captain America in 2020, he would have blown his head off immediately.
It's like, what?
This is terrible.
No, but I did like that, and I think that was one of the things that I did have to find out, because I wanted to know what was the purpose of everything being like 1950s into the 1960s, right? But finding the whole idea of like, in the 1950s, their whole industrial like station kind of froze, and there was no new technology from the 1950s all the way to the 2070s, where like the atomic bombs finally started dropping, and like that extends that caused all this. Like that's just crazy, because what if we were frozen in like the 70s and we're also wearing bell bottoms, like, you know, freaking 50 years later? Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like I love that idea. Like it's something that we've seen in like anime and these other movies, but I think just because it's something based on games that so many other people got to enjoy, and again, so envious, and I'll have to join at least in one game to kind of understand it more and be part of it. But just the show kind of does such a good job in like making you feel like, man, that's cool. Like the cars, again, being like 1950s/60s influence, but like still futuristic, and with these little like, I don't know.
I feel like that's how a lot of newer models of cars, they're trying to be like futuristic, but still kind of like oldish kind of looking.
Yeah.
At least that's from what I can tell from what I've seen. I mean, the Tesla truck, the big example, the big example of that. Even Hyundai, they got a couple models. I'm looking at you, Hyundai.
Yeah. What I mean, talking about the technology too, like some of the things that I like seeing is like some of the robotic elements, right? Like you had like the one surgeon robot that later you find out that was one of Cooper's like actor friends that recorded the voice and kind of sold his rights for that. That was fun enough.
Not a lot of money.
Yeah, for not a lot of money. He's like, how much you like sell it for? And he's like, a couple million. And he's like, what? It's like 200 something. And it was just hilarious. And then like even the technology of the Pip-Boy, that was cool too, right? Because
that's super cool,
something that us not being familiar with, but then seeing and the show all the usage, right? Like multi-tool with all kinds of capabilities, everything they do. And I don't know, man. I feel like this is a hard show to squeeze in an hour, because
I feel like people, like companies, don't understand that people want that. People want to have a giant thing on their wrist that can do all these different things. I want it, dude. I want to have like the biggest screen with able to.
Why don't you have the freaking Apple Vision Pro already then? Because that's close enough, you know.
Okay.
I feel like these are gonna start getting bigger and bigger. It's kind of like phones. How they were going like smaller and smaller until they started going bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's kind of true. Yeah,
but you're always gonna have the opposite, though. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously, you know, like Cooper kind of resisted a lot of that, right? But I think that's what it is. It's like, especially with the fact that he played a cowboy, he was a cowboy in real life, and then a soldier. That whole idea of like, kind of resist technology. Like, I feel like that's part of me sometimes, because I'm like, dude, like the more like I would not buy that Vision Pro thing, because in reality, I don't want to be lost in that world. As much as Ready Player One makes you want to be in that world, that's a whole different thing. But I don't think I would want to live in there and spend hours and hours and hours. I think it would just be like something.
You wouldn't want to be in the metaverse?
I mean, maybe for like an hour at a time when we're hanging out, having coffee over like Mars or something. I don't know. We get creative.
Yeah. I mean, we already communicate with each other through like, let's say, Xbox. I do. Yeah, I wish like the only thing like with the headphones, like maybe one day I can play like we talked about this like Yu-Gi-Oh. You know, and you're in your house, I'm in my house, and we're throwing down
D&D.
cards. That'd be fun. Or D&D, yeah, that's when you'll get me, Ro.
Look at us. There's people around the world that they're like, hey, I can use this technology to freaking build a house and a mansion and all this cool stuff, and we're like, let's play some Magic the Gathering. Yeah,
we have very low ambitions. Yeah,
it's just say we enjoy what we love, and hey, screw you. No, I'm kidding. No, everybody. I mean, everybody has their own ambitions, but I think this show has that complexity. I mean, going in with the whole idea of the vaults, I love that too. Like the technology in these vaults, right? The artificial sun was pretty cool. Like these individualized rooms, like. Obviously, again, the people that play the games love this so much more, but it's just like all the freaking the food, the product, the freaking all that. It's just like I don't know. I just had really a lot of fun watching all these little things and being like, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool.
I like how they explained that gecko-looking creature from the
Oh.
pond, because when I first saw it, I'm like, like inside his mouth, you can see that it has like fingers, like hands, like
Those
fingers
fingers.
hanging out. Yeah, and then later on you find out that of course there's a reason for that because it was furred from a person, so that was kind of cool. I didn't expect that because it was
Of
really
course,
cool-looking creature.
the scientific vault did it.
Yeah. Well, that was
That
the
was
thing
funny.
too. It was like a
Yeah.
lot of the scientists were gonna do some crazy ass shit because, like, again, you have people to experiment with. What do you expect? Like,
That was kind of funny where Lucy was purposely looking for something wrong with that ball, and there just wasn't anything, and everybody was nice. And
oh, because of the
everybody was
mutants.
the mutants, and like she was being a little racist at that point.
That I think that was one of the funny ones too, because I mean, then you have a vault that's not kind of like sheltered, right? Like they know what happened. They know what happened to like freaking what's the name, Shady Sands. And then they just have a different perspective on it all. But then I feel like they embrace the sense of community differently because they do know their history, and now I enjoyed that.
And
right?
they have
Lucy-
refugees.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Lucy seeing that history like on the whiteboard and seeing that Shady Sands had existed for a while. There was already that New Republic of California, and before she found out it was her dad, but like finding out that this got eliminated, and so to her this is all brand new because she in reality thought that they had been living down there for like 200 years, that they're still going to repopulate the planet. And yeah, for her to be confronted with freaking the Cyclops and people that glow and the dude with the nose on the thing and some dude had an ear on the side of his head, I'm like, yeah, that's pretty
But
fun.
she had been alive for 200 years, though, right? Like
No, not
they had-
her. No.
like she had been underground, like the people for like 200
Yeah,
years.
dude,
so-
yeah. Her vault hadn't really gone up outside of like maybe her mother. Well, I mean,
yeah,
and technically
yeah.
she did leave the vault. She just couldn't remember.
No, and the only thing why I say that, it did sort of confuse me when she was talking to Maximus, and it's just like, hey, the bomb got dropped like 25 years ago. That part, I'm glad later on it got explained, because that also kind of confused me. Like, I'm like, wait, what? Like,
Because he was
25
like,
years ago?
yeah, he's like, I lived
Yeah.
through that. Like, what are you talking
It was
about?
like,
I
what?
did think.
How?
I was like,
Yeah.
God damn it, you freaking Christopher Nolan influence. Like, like
Again.
this was yesterday. Surprise.
Just yesterday.
No, but I did like finding out. Like the whole thing with the Shady Sands was great. Like once you get towards the end and you find out that it was the dad. But I think the biggest reveal yet was the freaking that the mom was the ghoul. That was the ghoul, and you knew it. You knew it when
I
you walked
did
into
not
that
know
room.
it.
You didn't. I
I did not.
I just felt it, like, because I think at this point there was just more and more leading towards the fact that it was going to be reveal about what the dad had done. I just felt it. Like, I'm not saying that I didn't think he had bombed the whole freaking place. I just thought that he was like maybe like one of the bad guys or maybe one of the executives that we didn't know. Like, I thought he was maybe even like randomly like a CEO or something. And then to just see, like, I saw the ghoul and I'm like, dude, there's no way. Like that had, I was just
No, I didn't
nervous.
think anything about it. I thought it was just for intimidation purposes.
Oh, but then she shot her when she had to leave.
Oh, that was awesome! Like,
Yeah.
like that's so cool. Like, put her out of her misery. Yeah.
That was a beautiful moment though. Like them retelling the story about like the mom leaving with the kids. You see the necklace, and then like later, like it hits Lucy out of nowhere, and it's like, how can you ever love your dad again? Like, how do you even care about that guy ever again? Like, if anything, she
Her
should have
young-
been the one that like.
Yeah, and her younger brother kind of grew on me because I felt like that's who I was in this world. this kid, this child man that didn't belong, didn't want to do anything. But then he's suspicious of everybody and starts investigating. And actually, like, he's able to connect everything. And I mean, we don't know how he's gonna be in the next season, but I don't think he's done. Like, I feel like he'll get out of it.
I think he was great. I like the idea that like he pointed it out too, like right to her cousin boyfriend, where he's like, you're just like having me around because I remind you of Lucy. But I think it was true. Like it was like a part of Lucy that she had to leave behind, and he was still at the vault. So it's like, if anyone was going to be discovering things at the same time as Lucy was discovering things on the like surface in the wasteland, it was her brother. And I did love that dynamic because especially when you get to the story about like the mom, they were playing it at the same time, but they were finding out differently, right? He's finding out from what's his name, the Bob guy, the Buds guy, the brain, and then she's finding it out from Moldaver, and it was beautiful because they just kept on jumping from her to him, from her to him, and then by the end, you both had the same face of like freaking disbelief.
Dude, I
think that was
was
crazy.
certain that that brain was gonna poke him with the needle. And
Oh, that was funny. It's like, hold on, don't move, hold on, stay still, stay still. But I'm glad he didn't kick him or anything. And I like finding out that it was that assistant. Like that was so great. Or that guy, like the Buds guy.
Yeah.
To find out that he was
Buds.
such a Buds. To find out that was such a significant thing was crazy. I did not expect that to be the whole gist of the vaults. I was nuts.
Of those vaults, at least.
Yeah, at least of those vaults. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true because that was more of his influence. But I don't know. Buds was pretty great.
Yeah. So what do you
Was
think
it
he would
Bud
give?
or was it Bob's Buds?
I thought it was Buds, but I don't know.
I don't
His name
remember.
wasn't really. Can't even find him like right away on the list. I forget his name, but
Yeah. I mean, would you put yourself back to sleep, or what would you do?
do you even have a choice to put yourself back? I mean, I guess you did because he was telling the son to go back and take his place, right?
Yeah, take Dad's place. But
No, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing too. It's like you never know where you're gonna wake up to. Like, having you watch Futurama, wake up later, and it's like, holy crap! Like, but no, like just that idea is terrifies me. I don't think I would ever trust. Like, even if I wanted to live longer, cryo like sleep.
A lot of people are pointing out that the girl with
Demolition Man.
the bandage in the eye patch in her, like she might be one of the most like evil characters. Like,
she's wearing an eye patch.
and she's probably hiding some super powerful secret power that when she takes off the eye patch is revealed.
She's gonna go berserk.
I mean, I did see what
Shining
she had
or something.
But I mean, because a lot of people are making that comparison that there's like a boy version and a girl version of that cartoon, the Vault-Tec mascot.
Mm.
So a lot of people are pointing that she could possibly be the girl version of it. So I don't know. That's why I'm like, oh, maybe she's like more important.
She was mysterious too, because once we found out she was from Vault 31 already there, and that ultimately she was gonna kind of like run it. Like, you do want to know, like, why does she even have an eye patch? We never found out.
No, she got stabbed in the eye.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right.
And it was hanging out.
That episode. That's right. You're right. See,
I just don't know why she would marry. Like, if you're like important, where you know what's going on, you sort of have like you can demand things secretly. Like, why marry that husband of hers? She didn't like him. She thought he was pathetic.
Well, I don't think they have a choice. I mean, well, eventually, but I don't think they have a choice. I think
no.
So what it seemed like to me is like the people of management, I guess they get to kind of like oversee everything. Oh yeah, there you go, overseers. That like they get to oversee everything, but at the end of the day, I think they still have to follow like the orders of like the other management. I think it's like, yeah, you have more power than other people, but it's like you still have to somewhat play by the rules. And then, especially if you don't want people to discover what's going on, you obviously play along. And I don't know. That was funny too. Like when you found out she missed them, and therefore, like with Lucy's like boyfriend cousin, she was like, put on this cardigan and put on this scar.
That was pretty. And funny.
It was only funny because the freaking boyfriend cousin was like, okay, I guess this is happening, and then he got stuck with her, and then he was just like,
I know,
I'm sorry, man, this is just what it is. I gotta go with her, I guess. And
I mean, it's not a terrible deal, especially in that world. Yeah,
man, I wish we had so much time to just keep talking about it, because like I really loved everything that happened in the Wasteland. I think that whole
a lot.
Like, man, that whole
bottle
world.
caps as currency.
That's beautiful. The Nuka-Cola. That was a whole other thing, too, how Nuka-Cola was a thing that just kind of ultimately became, like, bottle caps becoming currency and all that stuff.
I wanted to drink a Nuka-Cola.
Do you? Because I don't think it was, like, healthy. I don't know. I
thought it was just, like, a brand, but not really, like, poisonous and okay.
I don't know. I mean, Fallout fans, let us know, or I guess we could do the research, but I don't know. It just seems like I just couldn't trust anything after like the bombing happened, because like clearly that was the whole thing with like the Ghoul and Lucy. That relationship was beautiful, right? Because that, as much as he's kind of a bad bounty hunter, but his mission, so he's not that bad. But it's just the whole dynamic that him and Lucy have is great, because he does become like an older brother or protector then, as much as he doesn't want her there, because he's like,
he respects her now because the whole like, hey, like here, like she didn't have to give him the medication, she did, and it's like, fuck, man. And it's like, he hates like bald people, like he hates them, like that. I could understand
bald
why
people.
he was...
Why? No, I'm kidding. Just kidding.
No.
Just kidding.
Yeah,
because the fact that like he probably feels like he had a lot to them being in there to begin with. So it's just like, like he just wants to put them all out of their misery, but Yeah, man. I just I don't know. I really like that character. This idea of like the Captain America, and all of a sudden, like 200 years later, and he's like the most
Or Red
vicious,
Skull.
ruthless,
Yeah.
Red Skull looking guy. Yeah, so cool.
And then the fact that he did give her, like, you know, especially after she found out the truth about her dad, he's definitely like, yup, like, kid, follow me if you want to survive. Otherwise,
Ooh.
these guys are going to F you up.
Come with
What did
me
he
if you want
say?
to live.
You catch something by letting them go, or something. I think he had like a good catchphrase of why he let the dad go.
Basically,
You know,
yeah.
it's
Like, if you want to catch, like, the rest of it, like, let him go and he'll lead you to them.
He'll lead you to them.
Yeah,
It's
which-
freaking
Again, haven't played the games, but I love that at least what it leads into the second season being New Vegas, knowing that that's one of the games. That's exciting, man. Like, I love things in Vegas. Like, you know, zombies
Yeah.
in Vegas, ghouls in Vegas. Yeah,
You know,
same
I hate
difference.
to say this, but the only mistake I've ever seen on Prime Video as far as like a show, and Ramon, me and you were kind of talking about this, and I only say this because they overspend money on it, but it's like the Lord of the Rings show. Like, to me, that was the one that was like high budget, spent a lot of money. They didn't, you know,
They won a bunch of Emmys though.
I do not recall if they did or not, but I just feel like that was the
Raul
one.
would know.
let that-
Raul loved it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, here you go, like
I
a
liked
Fallout
it.
game.
I didn't love it. I did like it.
No, I'm saying like it wasn't terrible. It was just saying like I think a lot
Yeah.
of people when you do talk about it, like there was a little somewhat disappointment with it.
Yeah.
But
What-
this
what-
show, like again, I didn't expect anything of it, and I think it's freaking great. It's awesome.
Yeah. I think the Lord of the Rings one came out the same time that the Game of Thrones one came out.
That was
Oh
just
yeah, there was a lot of
Yeah,
comparison.
so it was
between
hard to
that.
compare the two because one was way different than the other.
and the timing was way different too. Like one just
Yeah.
went so quick and time skips and everything. The other one was like slow.
I just like the fact that HBO had The Last of Us successful. Now this guy, they have Fallout successful. So it's like, what is
The
Netflix
Witcher.
gonna adapt? Well, Netflix tried doing Resident Evil, but they did it terribly.
Oh yeah,
So-
that wasn't great.
Witcher's the only one that did okay
The
for a
Witcher.
couple seasons, and then
What's
But
still
that's
coming
not-
out with it's still coming out with the fourth season.
yeah,
one?
but without
The-
Henry,
the-
it's like
Yeah, the behind the scenes
Witcher,
trailer I think
yeah.
came out today or yesterday or recently.
so.
I
Then
saw it.
question. So then, what video game reiteration do you want next, and
I mean,
who
I
do you
said-
want to do it?
I mean, I said it. BioShock. After seeing Fallout, there's no
Yeah.
part of me that believes that a BioShock game cannot be done like 100%. It's the same thing. It's almost like it's too much of the same from what I saw. From
Yeah, I
somebody
mean,
that's played all
I-
the BioShock games.
and I
They're
only
gonna
play
do the Zelda
BioShock.
already, aren't they?
Yeah, but see, I don't speak about that because I'm just so nervous.
Yeah, we don't talk about.
Oh,
Zelda
and that's gonna be a
live
movie,
action.
and that's gonna be a movie though, and I think there's a big difference there because I feel like with Zelda, a movie is perfect because you have like I feel like you have less chances to fuck it up. You condense a story, you just don't have a long time to really fuck it up, right? Like there's so much you
Yeah.
can squeeze in those like 2 hours and a half, whatever you decide to go with. But dude, you've had like 8 hours of content. There's so many mistakes
Yeah.
you can make there, and I would never want to see a Zelda show unless the freaking movie was amazing. But
You know, I just remember that I think Prime was also working on a Mass Effect TV
Ooh.
show, and I know you guys haven't played Mass Effect, but Mass Effect is like well below for like its storytelling, and that's more like in space, which is something that we haven't really seen for a video game adaptation. So that would be really cool, you know, to
Yeah.
get that one right. But
and I mean, so what makes this? I mean, I guess we haven't played the game, so we wouldn't know exactly what. But like, I think what it sounds like is like always having someone that actually was the creator for the game or people who have played the games. Because like I was watching interviews about how like Lucy, like the actress, played the game so that she can be like in like know the
Fallout 4,
source
yeah.
material, and it's like
you know, she was the voice for Jinx and
oh yeah, Arcane,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
oh yeah, absolutely. And so see, like that's the stuff that kind of like makes a difference, man. Because if you really don't know the content of what you're creating, you don't know the experience. You don't know what that player's supposed to feel like. Like again, if you ask me like work on something like this, I would be like, yeah, give me Zelda because I play a lot of Zelda. Everything else would be like, oh, I don't know, I don't have that much experience. Like, why would you want to do it? But again, then you have companies who just want the money, so they're like, here you go, like make this movie. I don't even care if you know what's going on, but you know, figure it out. Like Sonic, it's not.
Well, like I mean, like okay, so the Ghoul actor, which his name is Walton Goggins. I've seen him in so many things. Like he's
Vice
been in a lot
Principals.
of stuff. Yes, a lot of stuff, like a lot of good stuff. And it's so crazy to think that it's possible for the next 10 years as the shows continue, it becomes even better. This is what he's going to be recognized for. Like this is what people are going to be like. Kind of like the same thing with the guy from Ed Harris from Westworld. I love Ed Harris. I've seen him in so much, but to me, like I kind of like him today as the Men in Black. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like it kind of sucks that you're so late in your career, you think it's over, but then you get like a great role, and now this is who you're remembered as, you know. And it's just I don't know. I think the Ghoul is just like a great character. Don't let it go.
Very similar character too, man. You just pointed that out, like Men in Black, because then when you find out his history, you're like, oh, what?
Yeah, that was in the first season, really. Westworld.
Westworld. My goodness. Anyways, yes.
Any last minute crazy moments that we're forgetting about that we want to talk about? I know, 8 episodes. I just want to make sure we don't miss anything.
Yeah, I'm sure we missed tons of things because I mean it was fun to talk about it without like talking about every detail, because again we probably can't appreciate everything not knowing about everything, but I don't know. I'll stick to that.
When Maximus, he became the leader of the Brotherhood of Steel without really wanting to.
Yeah,
he's not the leader, but he became the leader.
Yeah,
pretty much. Yeah.
In another way, that was kind of a little bit like sketch, because clearly he wasn't that wasn't the whole situation, but he took advantage of it, and I think ultimately he wants to go back to Lucy. Oh, we didn't talk about that relationship, right? Real quick, but I did like that. Ultimately, they had a thing, and it was great, and now he has something to fight for. So the next season, you bet, no matter what he's doing, he's ultimately still gonna get back to her or try to get back to her. So,
bro, next time you have intercourse, be careful your thing doesn't explode. Okay,
might swell up like a pimple and
poof. Oh my god,
that was so weird.
That was crazy.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was funny. That's the one thing me and Ramon were talking about, like Lucy too. Like she was just so down to be like, hey, let's hook up.
So down a clown.
Yeah, she's down a clown. Oh, bro. I don't know if I ever heard that before.
Down a clown. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's when you really want to have fun.
With makeup and everything. I'm kidding.
Yup.
We kind of talked about the balls where all the mutants, but when they all got naked, I really did think there was going to be something like really weird about it. But yeah,
another cool moment. Yeah, another cool moment where I love how they were doing like the dynamic like 2 scene type of things going on, because Cooper's like meeting Maldaver for the real time in the 2070s, and then like Lucy's kind of discovering that what is it called, the oh my god, I forget her name. The Flame Woman, Maldaver basically is the same person that they're worshiping, and it's just again beautiful, like back and forth, like scene. The Flame Mother. There you go.
I have a big question before, and then we can end the episode. But when the Ghoul went to that guy's house to get the location from the one brother, I did not understand at all what was happening. I don't understand how he got to that house, who his brother was, how he knew the location of whatever. Like, that went just completely past me.
Wasn't that one of the sheriff deputies' brother?
I don't know.
I thought it was one of the sheriff deputies was his brother.
Well, maybe
he had paid for the brother to have a safe passage with Maldaver to go to the city, which Eric what's his name? Eric Estrada, Chips was definitely opposed to him leaving him, and so was really upset upon finding out. So even if the Ghoul didn't shoot up, it's one of those like, I mean, I hate referencing other people, but it's so fun to do it when you're like, oh my god, Chips.
I didn't look it up, but I'm like, that's definitely
But yeah, I think that's what it was. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. I think it was one of the deputies' brothers, and then that he had paid,
makes sense.
That he had paid passage for Maldaver to take, or someone to take him to Maldaver, and so then the Ghoul knew that the brother knew where Maldaver was.
Dude, that was fucked up. That's when I kind of realized the Ghoul sort of didn't learn his lesson, because he shot the kid, and I'm like, dude, why did you shoot the kid? Like, you shouldn't, like, I don't know, to me that felt really heartless.
But I think the Ghoul's still like not a bad guy. I think he's still just a bad guy. I mean, again, like I said, jaded is the right word. He's been jaded for fucking 200 years, like whatever. Like, he's looking for his wife and he's not happy about it. And because maybe it's because like the daughter's still alive. Yeah, exactly. Whether he wants to like give revenge, or maybe he's just trying to find her because maybe she took the daughter. Either way, this man has been angry for so long. He's angry at Voltec. He's angry at the freaking Chinese, Russians, whoever. Ultimately, well, it was Voltec, obviously, you found out. But he's just like mad about the whole situation, and he's just an angry man, but very cool angry man. And I think that was the moment you realize, I'm like, yeah, this guy truly doesn't care. Good thing he loves Lucy by the end of that, or at least he respects her, because otherwise, I think he would have done the same thing to her too. Like,
sometimes I feel like spitefulness like keeps you alive.
I mean, you're more careful. You're more careful.
Yeah, I mean, in his case, it sort of did. You know, it's just like this will of like, no, I will get my revenge.
Well, and I like the fact that unless he doesn't have his serum, he technically doesn't die. Like that's a cool thing about the ghouls. Which again, here we haven't found out how the ghouls are made exactly, but I do like that. You know, even freaking Thaddeus, huh?
With the tincture.
Oh, I mean, that was a way. That's one way, and that was like a radioactive something that he gave him. But I don't know. And then the fact that they become like freaking crazy ghoul, crazy ones. I don't know. We'll see.
All right,
we'll see, Raul. You should have one of those things and see what it does to you. Let us know.
All right. Okay. Well, let's call him, and I'll be sleeping in my vault in the basement next to my dogs tonight. But you guys have a better night than me.
Good night.
All right. All right, we need to find out a slogan when we say goodnight. All right, so that's your homework for our next episode.
Okie dokie.
Boss.